Well, welcome back to another video. Here we are again in the veg garden, but today for a totally different reason. Now, some of you might know if you've watched our previous videos, we dispatched one of our Rhode Island Red cockerels a couple of weeks ago to see if that was going to be feasible to supply us with chicken going forward. And it was an absolute success. It produced just over a £5 bird, it tasted great, so that'll be our chicken secured for the future. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait at least 20-24 weeks to get that up and running because we need to collect the eggs up from them, get them in the incubator. That'll take 21 days for them to hatch, and then we need to grow them on for 16 to 20 weeks. So that's all future plans, which Tracy will be talking about a bit later on in the kitchen. So in the meantime, for a bit of variety, you might know we hatched some ducklings at the end of January. Well, behind me, if you can see, they're the result of what we hatched. So there's 9 ducks there, up to dispatch weight, so that's what we're going to get on with today. I'm going to talk you through the process. We're not going to show you anything graphic, but we will take you along and show you the steps that we do to produce our own duck for the freezer. Just a bit of an insight in how we dispatch our game and our poultry. For the chickens, we use a cone, so we stun them first and then we put them upside down in there and we remove the head. That'll get secured to there, and then we just let them bleed out. That's how we do the chickens. For the ducks, it's slightly different. With the ducks, we just use a bag, and because they're a lot bigger and a lot more powerful, and we just cut a hole in the corner of it, and then we put the head through there and wrap them up tight in that, just to keep them all from flapping about everywhere, because they are very powerful. And then we do the same, we stun them and then remove the head. So we're not going to show you any of that on video, but that's basically how we do the ducks and how we do the chickens, and then we'll reconvene over where we're going to start plucking them over there. Well, that's it, it's all the dispatch done. It took about 20 minutes. So just a little piece of advice, if I could give any. We've done this now for every year for about 7 years. It never gets any easier taking a life, but if you're prepared and you get everything, all your equipment prepared, everyone knows what they're doing, and make it as quick and as easy for you and the animal. Well, now the dispatch is done, we're getting them ready to take over to where we're going to start plucking them. And all we do for that is we just put kitchen roll around the neck to soak up any excess blood, and put a bag round just to keep the mess to a minimum, tape it up, and then they're all as clean as they can be. So we leave all the mess over here, and we're going to take them over to the outdoor kitchen area is where we're going to start plucking them. Right, so all we do to hang them up, now we're back over here, is we just cut into the leg and just make a little slit in each leg, just like that. And then we just get the S-hook. You can buy these off eBay, and you just put them through both the holes, and then they're just ready to hang up. Just like that. Just one thing to say before we get started plucking them. These are exactly 11 weeks old today. We have done them older than this, which we didn't find worked very well because the feathers get that thick, and when you pluck them out, the skin looks awful and they don't make a very nice looking table bird. So I think 11 weeks is the maximum we'll let them go to. So we'll get to plucking them, and then when we get down to the little fine down feathers, we just use a blowtorch, run it over it, but we'll show you all that in the video. We blow it all over that, which tightens the skin, gets rid of all the down and all the furry stuff, and it makes a nice looking table bird. So we're going to get a cup of coffee, and then we're going to start plucking these. Right, so we've started plucking them, been on with it for a while now. We've pretty much finished one, so that's like the pretty much finished product. But we only want a couple of full ducks for the freezer, and the rest we're just going to make sure the breasts are nice and clean, and we're going to de-breast them, and the rest we're just going to skin off. So I just thought I'd show you on this one, like when we've got down to this point where it's a lot of this fluffy down left, if we just start the blowtorch up, and you can just blowtorch all that down off, and then when you get to that point, I will go over the rest of it, but just to show you, when you get to that point, you can just rub it all off with your hand, and it'll all just come off like that, nice and clean. And then you just pick out the remaining thick ones that are underneath the down that you couldn't see before. So we'll just go over the rest and burn the rest of the bird and just clean it off like that. Right, Well, it's 6 weeks later, folks. Has my beard got any longer? Well, it feels like it. It's took about 3 hours to get them to this state. So we decided, because it was taking so long, we're just going to deal with 2 for the table. I mean, still needs a little bit here and there, but once we like gut them and dress them, get the heads, the necks and everything off, we'll concentrate on them little bits. But the rest, we've just took them nicely down to the breast, because all we're going to do with them is we're going to take the breasts off with the skin on, and the rest, the legs and everything else, we're just going to skin off. Like normally, we were just talking about why we're doing it. We do all our ducks skinless, and now we know why. Because it's been a few years since we've done some for the table. We normally just do them for the meat, and it just takes forever. So next time, it'll be back to skinless. But we're going to get these in the fridge and get on with some other jobs. Right, well, now we've got them in the fridge. It's Sunday today. We'll leave them in there with the insides in until Wednesday, and then we'll show you how we dress them and prepare them for the freezer.
Well, that went really well with those ducks. I'm really pleased at how it's worked out. Now, Stephen said that we would have a catch up in the kitchen because there's something on my mind that I just wanted to share with you guys. Those 9 ducks are going to be fantastic in our freezer. We won't finish this video without showing you what we're going to do on Wednesday. It's now Sunday evening. Last Sunday, I tried to show you what I did with our Rhode Island red chicken, which Stephen's already mentioned. That's going to be our meat birds moving forward. It's going to be at least 20, 22, if not more weeks before we have those meat birds. We don't have any in the current flock that we're prepared to dispatch because we want to make sure that we're able to continue breeding those birds moving forward. We don't want to be reliant on anybody else to buy in to then be able to raise them. The idea is that we're self-sufficient in it. So now that we've decided that the Rhode Island Reds are going to be our meat birds moving forward, in the meantime, we have no chicken, as Stephen alluded to. We also have no more beef. I think we've completely run out of beef. We may have some mince. We're going to go through the freezers, not on camera, but at some point, so we can see exactly what we've got. Definitely got no chicken. I don't think we've got any beef. We're self-sufficient in pork and lamb. We've definitely got both of those meats. And obviously we've got the duck that's going in as well. We don't have fish very often. And now this is all something that's been on our minds at the moment. We want to try and introduce fish once a week into our diet. That's going to have to be something that we buy in, and we're okay with that. We've got no way of raising our own fish here, and we're absolutely okay with that. But also I've made the difficult decision that in the interim of not having any chicken, I'm actually going to buy some in, and that's what I've done. We have decided that we are going to buy in chicken from an external source. For us, it's a really big thing because we haven't purchased chicken for a very long time. That's what we're going to be doing in the interim whilst we haven't got any of our own meat birds, and that's exactly what I've done, because last week when I tried to show you how we were cooking the Rhode Island red bird, it actually didn't go to plan. However, Stephen did show you how he was butchering it, and that's what I'm going to show you now.
Right, well, I didn't want to leave you without showing you how the cockerel turned out. So it's been hanging in the fridge now for a couple of days with its guts left in it. Just a reminder, this is one of our Rhode Island red cockerels, and it's 30 weeks old. Running forward, we're not going to grow them to 30 weeks old. They will be about 16 to 20 weeks old. Because we had 4, we needed to see which ones were serving the girls and which ones were doing the jobs. It seems like they all are, so we just picked the smaller one out of the flock and left the other 3 in with the girls. The idea is, if this works out, this was what our chicken supply here on Smallholding will be moving forward. Now, excuse the voice, it's been 2 days of rain and crap weather, and I've got a cold and a sore throat. So I'm going to get to dressing this. I'll just take you along. I have done a video of dressing chickens before, but I'll just give you a quick run through why we're doing it and what we do, and then we'll get it weighed. Right, first of all, we'll just start by taking the feet off. Tracy's going to keep them and show you what she does with them in a different video. So you just find the joint there, get a sharp knife and cut through the joint. Same again on the other side. Then we'll just push the legs back and flip it over, and we'll get the neck off and the crop out. As you can see, there's food in the crop. So we'll just take sorry, phone call. Right, sorry about that. That was very unprofessional of us. So we just turn this over, cut a little bit of skin off the back of the neck, and then fold it around away from the neck. Pull that neck up and as far away from the body as you can. This bit can be a bit fussy. Normally you use a pair of sapoteurs to cut the neck off, but I haven't got them with me at the minute, so I'm just going to cut it off with a knife So you just go in there till you find the joint. And then just pull that neck off like that, and we'll save the neck also. Then you go down the side of the crop, down the skin, trying not to burst the crop with all the feed in. And just get your fingers around that crop, pull it away from the skin, like that. And then just cut where you've cut the neck off, around there, not going too deep so you're not breaking the skin. And then coming around, getting that windpipe and everything out. And then just tidy that up the back end there, and all that will go in the bin. And then the neck skin will cover the hole that you've left by taking the crop out. Then just turn it back over and it'll start looking something a bit more like a chicken. And then we'll start on the front end, or the back end, whichever you want to call it. So I'm just going to put a little slit in there, just so that you can get your fingers in. You don't want to go too deep and cut the guts. All I do now is I just put my fingers in and just open it up like that. And then you get your hand inside, and if you just roll your hand around the rib cage, you'll be able to feel the back of the guts. You can just get right in, loosen them up, and then you just pull all them forward, trying not to burst anything, and just get to the bottom. You'll be able to grab the windpipe, pull that which is there, and just pull them all forward like that. And then all you do next is just cut around the vent, trying not to cut the guts. And if you can hang them off the table while you're doing it, it keeps all the mess off the table, like that. So then all you do next is take the testicles out, you don't want them, and then get your hands in and just loosen the lungs up from the cavity. One side, one the other. There, as it's been hanging cold, they'll come out pretty easy. You can, if you want to, take the heart off, and then the livers, which are there, and then all the rest will just be disposed of. And then that's it. That's your whole dressed chicken, ready to be weighed and go in the oven. So let's get it weighed. Right, let's get it weighed. The moment of truth. So it's 2.39 kilos, so nearly 2.4 kilos, which is about 5.2 pound, something like that. So pretty decent sized bird. I mean, the ones you get from the supermarket are only what, 1.2, 1.6 kilos. So nearly double what you're getting from the supermarket. Obviously, it is a lot older than we are going to do them, but it's been full size now for a good few weeks. So I think at 16, 20 weeks, we'll still have a decent size, this sort of size bird. So I think that's going to work out great for us. We'll just see what Tracy does with it. So catch her up in the next video to see what she does with that.
So I didn't want to go and not show you his expert butchery skills, which I always think are worth getting in any video whenever we can. So that was the Rhode Island red bird that you saw, and I cooked it in the Aga, which is behind me, but unfortunately it wasn't up to temperature, so that no matter how long I left it, it simply wasn't going to get to a safe cooking temperature. And I had to do some other things that I didn't really want to show you on camera because it wasn't necessarily something I'd want people to copy. It was all safe, it's just not the best way of doing things in terms of using another oven to bring it up to temperature, etc. It didn't go to plan, and I thought I'm not going to show you that as safe practices. So that's where we left it, and I did mention that on a different video. Anyway, needless to say, once the bird was brought up to temperature, we obviously ate that, and it was absolutely delicious, hence our decision to use the Rhode Island Reds moving forward. However, I wanted to show you that normally when we cook the bird in the slow cooker, which is just in the Aga in the bottom, it's essentially the same as an electric slow cooker, we would normally fill the pot full of water, submerge the bird in the water, and effectively poach the bird. And the reason being so that we're left with a huge amount of broth to use for soup, because we make so much soup for the coming weeks for lunches. You know, we're out every day or most days, and people need to take lunches with them, etc. And that's what I use the broth for. So fast forward 1 week, we've been out and purchased this bird. The broth that's now in the slow cooker will get strained, and we will be making more soup with it. So this soup can then go in the freezer, and we'll just keep stocking up the soups that are in the freezer, but using our homemade broth. I wanted to show you that that's what we will normally be doing with the Rhode Island Reds. once they're up to speed. But in the meantime, we'll be doing kind of a traditional Sunday dinner, but it won't be a roast because it's going to be done in a slow cooker every week, giving me 2 lots of broth to be able to use, lots of soup that I can then get put in the freezer and help me for the week ahead. Now I know that this is teaching my granny to suck eggs for a lot of you guys, but I just love the traditional ways of having a roast chicken or a bird, some form of meat on the Sunday, and then stretching that out to Monday and Tuesday. So it's Sunday today, as I say. Tomorrow we've actually got chicken on the menu, which will be the leftovers from this meal. We're going to fast forward to Wednesday now.
Right, well, it's time to get on to dressing our ducks. Now, we kept 2 ducks for whole roasting birds, which I'm going to be getting on with and show you now. And the rest, we're just going to take the breasts and the legs off them. So these have been hanging now in the fridge for 5 days with the insides in. So we still need to get them out, and the necks and the heads and everything off. So we do that because it relaxes the meat, which we know from experience. Before, we just killed them, took the breast off because we thought they'd be fine, put them in the freezer. When we came to eat them, they were as tough as old boots. So this is tried and tested, so this is how we continue to do it. So we're just going to get on with dressing these now. Basically, it's just the same as the chicken one that you've seen earlier in the video. So it's just feet off, neck off, insides out, and then I'll show you it once it's dressed. Well, there's them 2 done for the freezer. More than happy with the way they turned out. I mean, you can be a bit finicky if you like and get some tweezers and pull these little tiny excess feathers out if you were really that fussed, but I'm perfectly happy with the way these have turned out. So we're going to keep the liver for Tracy's going to make some duck liver pate out of that, and the necks and the hearts will just go for the dogs. So we'll get these weighed, get them bagged up and get them in the freezer. So that one weighs 2.2 kilos, just over, so nearly £5. And pretty much exactly the same for that one as well. So 2 £5 roasting ducks for the freezer. So we're going to get these bagged up, get them in, and then we're going to get on with the other 7 and take the breasts off them and that, and I'll show you what we do with them. Right, so these are the 7 we've got left. And as you can see from this way onwards, how the day progressed. We started off getting every one out, and then slowly we got sick, and then at the end we just went, that'll do. But it doesn't matter for what we're going to do with these. We're going to keep 4 of them as crowns, and the other 3 we're just going to take off as single breasts. The legs we're just going to take off as whole duck legs, but skin the legs off, so it doesn't matter about all these down feathers on them or anything like that. We'll get them all broke down, get them all split up, and then see what we're left with. Well, that's it for our spring harvested ducks. We did 9 this time. It's the first time we've ever done 9. We normally just do 2 or 3. And 9 was quite a lot for the time it takes to do them. So we'll probably knock it back down to 4 or 5 next time, which we'll just have to do more batches. So we'll do another batch in the summer, but this is more than enough to keep us going for then. So we'll just give you a run through what we got out of them. We did the 2 ducks, which you're seeing they're already bagged ready for the freezer. We did 4 crowns. So we've got 4 nice decent sized crowns there, and then we got, how many left? 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 6. And we got 6 nice duck breasts there. We go lovely with plum sauce. We've actually got some of our own plums in the freezer, so Tracy will do a plum sauce for them. And then the legs, we just roughly diced them, and we just got a big bowl of diced, which will go in stews and casseroles. We got a nice bowl of duck liver, which Tracy's also going to make a duck patty, liver patty out of that. And then the necks and the carcasses. The necks were going to go for the dogs, but Tracy's claimed them for stock. So the carcasses, the leg bones and the necks are going to go into stock, and the hearts we'll just give to the dogs like that, raw, because they love them. So yeah, all in all, a happy harvest of ducks. So it's time to get all this bagged up, portioned up and into the freezer. So keep an eye out for Tracy's upcoming video on what she's going to do with all the stock and the bones and the liver, and we'll see you in the next one.